clock and time for episode number 99 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with Geeks on Tour. We are old dogs learning new tricks. Hey everyone.
Hi.
I'm Jim, and here together with my wife Chris, we're Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone or your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
We are geeks who teach, and we think the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis, so that's why we have this weekly show. Every week we come up with some new topic and we post it on YouTube and on our new thebuttonshow.com.
That's a great place to check out.
But everything's still on our main website, geeksontour.com.
I'm glad you qualified that. So where are we now, Chris?
We are at home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, after having taken a week off and visited friends up near Gainesville because they have a great Halloween party. We went as a fish and a witch. Fish witch.
An Uber witch.
And a shark
and
fish.
A shark fish. That was fun.
Great fun.
Okay, well, today we have 3 parts of our show. Chris is going to start with a new iPhone 7 Plus. It's Chris's birthday this week, so she got a new phone. All right, our beginner's lesson will be touchscreen essentials. And our app of the day is something that was left over. It's called CCleaner. If you have any questions live during the show, put them in the chat there, and we'll try to get to it. I see Bill from YouTube. Look around. Sound good? That
Good.
Sounds great.
Well,
Thanks so much.
one thing that has changed, we want to let you know, we are still doing the live show on Sunday. And if you subscribe to us on our Google Plus channel or on the YouTube channel, you will get notification of that. But we aren't sending out notices to everybody else until we post it on our blog on thebuttonshow.com, and that will be every Wednesday. Give us a little chance to edit it a bit and to write the show notes. So a little bit of a difference. We'll still be live every Sunday at 2.
That'll make sure that we do this.
Exactly.
And make sure that we keep up with it. Well, we do invite you to become a member at geeksontour.com. Just go to our website and click on the button that says Become a Member. Show notes.
Show notes. Yeah, I really want to show this because this is a little bit of a change too. Our last episode was 98, and it was about editing pictures with Google Photos. And I want to show you how you can find the show notes. So if you go to on the web, if you remember, you can find them at thegeeksontour.com, but we now have this dedicated site called thebuttonshow.com. And if you go there, you will see every episode, photos with Google Photos. And if you are a member, you can get to the show notes right here. But if you're not a member, we've put them out in PDF format, and you can buy it for 99 cents. So that's something a little bit new. Wanted you to know about.
Very cool. So those show notes are really, really handy, and you've gotten better at it.
I look them up all the time to remember things we did in the show.
Oh yeah, we need to know. It's important.
And they include timeline links, so you can go straight to the show, and you can still watch the show, but you can go straight to the parts that are most interesting to you.
Right. Well, cool. Quick tip. Chris shows off her iPhone 7 Plus.
Not exactly a tip, but just feel like I need to tell you, if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that I've been wanting a new phone. Well, I had the Samsung Galaxy S5, which still works okay, but it's 2.5 years old. So I wanted a new phone. I wanted the Samsung Galaxy Note 7.
The exploding phone.
Luckily, I waited. And now I don't want that. In fact, you can't get that at all now, can you? Of course, the Galaxy 7 and the 7 Edge is a great phone too.
Yeah.
But we happened by a Best Buy, and I said, show me the iPhone 7 Plus. And it's pretty cool. I bought it unlocked, so no contract or anything, but $900, 800 and some odd. Using it is fast. I mean, it is really fast. It just boots up right away. It unlocks right away. It takes pictures with no delay. And the thumbprint to unlock, I'm going to show you that in a second, is really nice. The camera, this is the main reason I got it. Now, this is Lewis here. I wonder if he might be watching. Our favorite Halloween party host. And I took a picture of him using the new portrait mode. The phone has a telephoto lens and a wide angle. And when you put it in portrait mode, it zooms in and uses the telephoto lens for the person's face and the wide angle without focusing on the background. I think it's every bit as good as any picture I've taken with my digital SLR. And then 3D touch. 3D touch is a new thing on it. And since this whole episode is about touch, we'll show you a little of that during the main lesson. What it is the screen is pressure sensitive. So when you press harder on it, you are issuing a different command. And they've put all sorts of new little shortcuts and cool advanced features on that hard press. And once you get used to it, you know, I kind of feel like going back to my Android and not being able to press harder and get something is kind of primitive.
Right.
I mean, I'd really like the 3D touch. That's pretty cool. But I am still a Google fangirl.
Yes, you are.
So my plan is to learn everything there is to know about using all Google apps on the iPhone 7 Plus. So that's, let me.
She'll be the real expert on Google stuff on Apple.
Google
things.
apps on Apple iPhone. So let me show you just a couple of things, and then we'll get to our main. All right.
Over there?
Yeah, I want to show it.
All right, let's see if I can find that.
And it is the 7 Plus, by the way, that has the two lenses. The Plus is the bigger one, and it's important. All right, we good?
Yeah, we don't have a screen yet.
Right, well, because the first thing I want to show is about the unlock. So the home button is a little bit different too. It's not a real button, it's a fake button, but it still kind of feels like a button. If I press it, it comes on, and I just want to prove, if I press it again, it says press home to unlock. I do have a passcode on there, but I have registered my thumbprint, so just watch how nice this is. If I use the right finger, I press, and it's on.
Wow.
It unlocks with my thumbprint that fast.
That's amazing.
That it really is. There's no, I mean, with my old iPhone had thumbprint, but I had to kind of wiggle it one way and wiggle it another and let it sit. So that is, I think, is amazing. And then I just want to show you what the new camera feature looks like. And right there where it says 1x, now you're not going to be able to see because it's just sitting on a black background, but when you go to 2x, it zoomed in, and that's an optical zoom to 2x. And then you can still even make it more. And this is a digital zoom, but it's pretty good. It's been in my experience. And then the one new feature is this one called Portrait. And that's how I took that picture of Lewis. You put it in portrait and it zooms in and uses both lenses. So that's it. There's lots more, but those are the things that are most impressive to me. And the 3D touch we'll show you later.
Okay. Very cool. Now that is just for the Apple iPhone
Yeah,
7 Plus.
I don't know if,
The 7 doesn't have it, right?
oh yeah, it has the 3D touch.
Oh, but it doesn't
have the two lenses.
The two, okay.
Yeah.
That was, all right.
Yeah.
My confusion.
And the 3D touch started with the 6S. So there are other iPhones that have the 3D touch, but I haven't heard any other manufacturer talking about using 3D touch.
Yeah, right now I wonder if they would be sued by Apple if they tried to bring out such a thing.
Anyway, I like it.
Could be. All right. Well, we do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/2geeksontour. What'd you do? Okay. Try it again. Let's see. There are a couple of questions here. Are the show notes going to be updated and available on the USB drive that has both the standard USB and micro? And there was mention of one that has Wi-Fi compatibility too. I think you're a little bit confused. We are not offering that USB with our stuff on it, but we do have those for sale in our store, right? In our Amazon store.
I'm completely confused.
The USB drives that we have our stuff on, right?
Yeah.
Is only regular USB. We've talked about other USB drives that have these other connections, and one that will work with the Wi-Fi connection. Right now, we're not selling those with our stuff on it, but you can buy those and put our stuff on it for your own self.
And the show notes are updated.
Right.
The show notes are kept up to date on when you buy it right now.
Right. When you buy the thumb drive, it's always the most up to date because I burn them as needed. Okay. I hope that answers that question. And Chuck wants to know, I returned from a conference with 150 JPEGs he wants to share with various attendees. The size is 325 megs. How to share?
Google Photos.
That sounds like
Google
the right
Photos.
Right.
You just make an album.
Make an album in Google Photos and then choose to share it and who to share it with.
And if you want to just give a link somewhere, that's very easy to do. So for example, on our blog, if you look at our photo albums, there is a link to our September photo album, and anybody, I made that link visible to anybody. So you can make an album, get the link, put the link wherever your people will see it, and there you go.
Okay, cool. I think that'll do it.
Okay, that's all questions?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Where'd that come from?
I don't know. Keep going. Your beginner's lesson. Okay, touchscreen essentials. And, we talk about these things all the time, the touches, the double touches, and that kind of stuff. But a lot of people are new to this, and they need to know how this stuff works.
People are getting new phones for the first time all the time, and we don't want to forget about them. So this episode is back to basics, although you might pick up a trick or two also. So touchscreen essentials. First, what are we talking about? The screen of these smartphones are touchable, and you do not use a mouse like you do on a computer, but it's the same idea. On a mouse, we called it a click. On a touch screen, we call it a tap. A double click, we call it double tap. A drag, sometimes we still call it drag, but we also might call it slide. And what it means is touch the screen, keep your finger on the screen, and then slide it left, right, up, or down. A right click on a mouse translates to touch and hold on the screen. We call that long press. And then there's something that you really can't do with the mouse. I call it flick or swipe, which means tap it and move quickly, and and the screen kind of spins. Then there are some tricks you can do with more than one finger. Multi-touch, pinch and zoom, also known as pinch close and pinch open, or pinch and reverse pinch. People haven't settled on that yet. We'll show you all of these in a minute. Then you can use 2 fingers to swipe, and that'll do something different than 1 finger. And same thing with 3 and 4 fingers. If you have trouble with the touching, my recommendation is practice with a game.
This goes way back to, back to the early Windows.
Right. Whenever we taught beginners computers, we said play a game, make it fun and get yourself familiar with using the device. So same thing on phones. There is solitaire and it's fun. And after a while, you won't even know that you're touching and dragging and
makes it easy.
But if you still have trouble, try a stylus. We're talking about these, it looks like a pen, but it's not a pen tip. What's the key here?
The little rubber tip that's on the end there is a special rubber that is capacitance, and it allows you to use it as your finger, but it's a little bit more accurate for a lot of people. So give it a shot if you're having trouble using it that way.
Yeah, now we're definitely talking about the one with the rubber tip, not the special device-specific styluses, the ones that come.
I have one for my Surface, and then there's other ones for like the Samsung Note.
Yeah, now those are special. They have very sharp tips, and they can write and do a bunch of other stuff. But I think I'm ready. And the advanced touch techniques are, you can combine all these things. Touch, hold, and drag will do something different. And then the 3D touch.
Now, a lot of this stuff is specific to the phone that you have or the device that you're using.
And the app.
Right.
Every app has a different, so our goal today is just to make sure you know what these words mean. So when you're reading instructions, you can understand, and to show you some examples of where they work. All right. I'm ready for demo, and I'm going to start on the Android.
All right.
And shall I? Let me get it so it looks the best. It's like so. All right. So first is just tap. So if you want to make a phone call, you have to tap on the phone, and it opens up the phone. Then when you're done, you press on the home button to go back home. You want to take a picture, you tap on the camera. And you press the home button to go back home. And then something like maps. Now, let's say that you're having a problem with tapping. Don't stab it. It's not going to work.
Yeah, don't poke at it. We say that these things are very touchy devices. And we also say that you should touch them the way they want to be touched, right? Because people and phones don't respond well if you poke at them.
Right.
What do you think?
Because what's kind of happening, if I, oops, well, see now that it got it that time. But most of the time, if you're stabbing at it,
you never know where
it's not getting the right message. So it's just a light touch. All right.
Tap.
And that's maps. And I go back home. Now a swipe. If you, or drag. So if I drag to the left or I drag to the right, we call that swipe left and swipe right. Because you were talking about the direction that your finger is going. Now I'm all the way at the leftmost screen, but I had to swipe right to get there. This is my Google Now screen. There's also a swipe down, and that gets you to your notifications and your quick settings. Now let me go back to the map. I think it's a good example. So with the map, if I swipe, it's really dragging. It means touch and hold on the screen, and as you drag around, you're moving to a different place on the map. Now, if you do that really fast, it'll go a long ways until you tap the screen to stop it. But it's much more effective. This is where pinch comes in. Pinch means 2 fingers on the screen and pinch them together, and that zooms out. Now, 2 fingers on the screen and spread them, also known as a pinch open. I read some Apple manuals and they said pinch close or pinch open for those 2 movements. I call it pinch and zoom because when I spread them, they're zooming. Now, why did I get that marker there? Because it seemed to have registered a long press. If I just X out of that, the marker goes away. So if I want to zoom in on Illinois, on Chicago, I can double tap. And every time I double tap, it zooms in again. You have more control by pinch and zoom, but double tap can get you in a little bit. And if I want to drop a pin, if I want to set a marker in Chicago, touch and hold until something happens. That pin gets dropped. So that's touch and hold, also known as long press. I'm going to go back home now and show you another touch and hold. If I touch and hold on an app icon out here, it's now attached to my finger. Oh, and interesting, something that I wanted to show you doesn't show up when I have it in landscape. So let me move the phone this way. And now if I touch and hold on an icon, see how there's remove and uninstall at the top. Now they're only there as long as my finger is still held down. When I let go, it's off. Touch and hold, and if I wanted to remove that from my home screen, I would drop it off there. Now it's gone, but it's not completely gone. It's in my all apps. So that's how that works. Notification. Swiping down from the top gets me my notifications. It also gets me my quick settings. Now here I'm just going to show you one multi-finger, multi-touch. So if I swipe down and then I tap that little 4 squares.
Pull the whole phone down just a tad. There you go.
Okay, so let me do that again. Swipe down, tap the 4 squares, gets me all of my quick settings on my Samsung Galaxy S5. But watch it, if I use 2 fingers and swipe down, I get straight there.
So that's a shortcut.
Yeah, with 2 fingers. So I'm not going to show you many of those shortcuts, but just know that sometimes if you use 2 fingers, you'll get a different result.
Give it a try. Experiment.
And now here's a solitaire game. And I do think this is just a great way to get comfortable with your phone because it's just a bunch of tap and drag and getting familiar. So I don't see, do I see anything I can do here? No, so I have to turn over a card. You tap on the cards. I still don't see anything I can do. Tap again. Still don't see anything I can do. Okay, an ace can get over on the stacks. Tap again. Oh, I see something. Why didn't you tell me?
I'm not watching.
The 2 can be dragged on top of the 3. All right. Now this card face is awfully small. So I'm going to tap on settings and choose card face and make them bigger and confirm. So that is also something you would learn by using Solitaire, is how to change options. And look at that. It's showing me that, hey, there's something I can do with that. So I can drag that down on the 4. All right. I can drag that down on the 6. And when you're done, you can press the home button. And yes, let me show you one more little, for those of you where this has been way too beginning, let me show you one little trick. And that is, if you tap on the multitasking button here, the 2 squares, and you see all the apps that have been recently opened, you can long press on one and it takes you straight to the app info screen, which otherwise you have to go into settings and application manager and find it. And so I think that's a pretty handy little tip. And that is the basics of touchscreen touches on a Android and a Samsung device. Now I'll go to the iPad. Oh, and the very first thing you need to do with a device is know how to slide. And then, of course, put in your password. And there's, okay. So, same thing. Tap to open up an app. Press your home button to get back to home. And tap to open up your calendar. Come on. There we go. It is. And press the home button to get back to home. Tap to open up your camera. And home button to get back home. And you can, there's more home screens than one. You see these 3 little dots down here. Swipe left to get to the right screens. I don't know why I have such a problem with that, but I think it is clear. You say swipe left, but where you're going is to the right. Swipe right to go to the left. Then you can also swipe down to get your notifications or your today. And even once you're in here, oops, you can swipe and things happen. You can also, on the iDevices, swipe up to get your control center. Now, there's a slight trick with that, though, and that is that you need to be off the screen. So where you start your swipe is real important. So you have to start. If I started swiping up from there, nothing's going to happen. I have to be all the way off the main part of the screen, and then the control center comes up. And same thing with your notifications. You need to be off the top of the screen. And then there's one more really nice one, is if you start from the middle and swipe down, you get to a search. This is the Spotlight search. One of my favorite things on any iDevice. I agree. So I don't have to find an app. I can just tap in here and say, I lost my clock. Where's the clock? Okay, there it is. That's search. From a home screen in the middle, swipe down, and that gets you to search. So I hope everyone in the United States has changed their clocks back. Right. It's something that we used to have to run around the house and do. Now, most of our devices do it automatically. Because where do they get their time from? They get their time from different places. There are atomic clocks, but ours get ours from the cell
towers.
From the cell tower. So it knows where we are, what time zone we're in, and when daylight savings goes on and off. Very nice, yeah.
Smarter than me.
And here's the Apple Maps. And the same thing, you touch the screen and drag around. If you flick it, it will keep moving, not quite as fast as the other one did. And if you double tap, it will zoom in on a spot. If you long press, it'll drop a pin on the spot. And if you tap, so how do I get rid of that pin? Tap on it, and now a menu should come up, and remove pin. So tapping reveals menus. Long press does something else. All right. Back to the home screen. And long press here does something specific to iDevices. Long press on an icon, and they all start wiggling, and some of them, most of them, get X's on them. So that's how you uninstall an app from an iPhone. But generally, that's also just how you move them around. Once they're wiggling, you can touch and hold and drag them around. You can touch and hold and drag one on top of another. It can be kind of tricky. Yeah. Boy, it's being really tricky. There, you drag one on top of another, and that has made a folder with those two. Didn't mean that. As long as they're still wiggling, you can drag them out. How do you stop them from wiggling?
I know. You just push the home button.
You push the home button, and now they're not wiggling. On the iPad, there are a couple things you can do with 4 fingers. Do you know about recently used apps? So I have just had several apps open, right? I had Maps, Camera, Clock, Calendar. Most people learn if you double press the home button, you're now in the multitasking screen where you see all recently open apps. On the iPad, there is one other way of doing that, and that's 4 fingers and drag. Oh, come on. Do I have to get into one first? I think maybe I have to get into one first. So I'm in the map. Now I have 4 fingers and I'm in the clock. I have 4 fingers and I'm back to the map. See, if I just drag around with 1 finger, I'm just dragging around the map. But if I use 4 fingers, I'm dragging between the apps. And last but not least is play some solitaire. Get familiar with it, or whatever game. You know, find a game that is going to be fun for you. And you can tap and drag and drag and tap and tap. And now if you wanted to move, I don't see one, but if you wanted to move this 3, you got to make sure to touch and hold right on the 3 if it needed to go somewhere. Notice it won't let you do something wrong. And then when you're done, you tap on the home button again. And then the last thing is my iPhone 7 Plus and the 3D Touch. So just a couple of examples to show you what 3D Touch can do. Let's say I want Google Maps to give me directions to navigate to work from wherever I am. Touch and hold, and I get this little shortcut, directions to work. Is that fast or what? I mean, first of all, it's just plain fast. Second of all, the 3D Touch shortcut really makes it good. Long press on the camera. I mean, 3D Touch on the camera. Sorry, I didn't 3D touch on the camera, and there's take selfie. Hi. So that's so much faster than opening it, finding the selfie camera. And look what Facebook offers. Long press on Facebook, or 3D touch, means push harder on Facebook. Go live.
Right away.
Is that amazing? So just anywhere. So if you see action news happening right now, just 3D touch on Facebook, go live.
And you will be broadcasting.
Wow. Now, one problem. So I just showed you on the iPad how to long press on an icon and make it wiggle. Make all of them wiggle so that you can do a bunch of things. Well, but if I long press on Facebook, I get that. Uh-oh. Long press on photos. Uh-oh. Long press on calendar.
I bet there's a trick.
How do I do this? The trick is to go very, very gently.
So touch it the way it wants to be touched.
It's just touch and then don't move. And they're back to wiggling again. So you just got to be really good. This is a pressure sensitive screen now, and touching harder means it does that you're doing 3D touch.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Do I have time? No, I don't. Well, yes, I do. I have this all set up. All right. I know that in the keyboard, that X is the exclamation point and the M is the question. I don't want to tap on the question mark and get that. I want to just do it. If you touch and hold on the X and drag it to the space bar, so touch, hold, drag, that gave me an exclamation point. Touch, hold, drag, that gave me a question mark. So that's just one little example of touch, hold, and drag at the same time. Not to mention that this is actually dragging using the swipe keyboard. This is one of our favorite things to show people. And we have a whole episode on it. So, but that's swiping.
Okay.
All right. I think I've done enough.
I think you have too. Okay, we have a couple of more questions here. Let's see. Chris mentioned using the solitaire game to teach the basics. How about teaching the basics on bits, bytes, kilobytes, etc., and the file organization between the cloud and devices? Well, we have talked about the basics on bits, bytes, and kilobytes, and megabytes, and terabytes. And
well, but you mean does the questioner know of a game that teaches that? I would love that.
Okay.
You know, and I'll bet you such a thing does exist. I haven't.
Google is your friend.
So right. Cloud and
Lolan never knew about the double tap. She thinks that's great.
Yay.
All right. And Chuck wants to know what the best way is to prevent pocket calls without turning off your phone.
Throw it in the garbage. I actually don't have a problem with pocket calls much anymore. I just have a problem with answering phone calls, period. Let's see, pocket calls though, I think probably the easiest thing is to get the case that covers the screen.
A wallet type case.
Get a wallet type case. Okay. I have one on order for my new iPhone 7 Plus, and we might even do a whole show on smartphone cases here. Everybody has their favorite.
Yeah, okay.
But I just got a recommendation from a friend, and this one looks really cool. It's a wallet.
Maybe somebody will bring it to you for your birthday. What do you think?
Other than that, on Android, there are some specific apps that will make you confirm before a phone call is dialed. I don't know of any such apps on the Apple. Yeah. So the case is probably the best.
All right. And you might remind us to change and test our fire alarm batteries at the end of the show. I'll remind you right now because I'm looking at it. In the fall and in the spring, that's a great time to check and change the batteries in your smoke detectors and your other devices around and do that. So That's a great thing. Thanks, Bill. All right. Again, we are old dogs learning new tricks, and we would like you to like us on Facebook. That would be cool. Okay, it's time for our app of the week, and this week it is going to be CCleaner. CCleaner is an app that'll remove junk, reclaim space. It says that it's going to give you safer browsing, and there is a system monitor. You have it on one of your phones there, don't you, Chris?
No, but I can go get it. That's
okay.
What I figured I would do.
Oh, here's some screenshots for you. There's the CCleaner. It's something that we've been using for our computers for a long time, and it's something that I really have trusted. I know the name. It's a company called Puriform, and they've been out and they keep their stuff updated, and it keeps your devices clean. So I've been using it on the PC for a long time. They have it for the Mac, and now they have it for Androids and Apple devices. All right, let me see if I can move over there and get that one. So you're on your Android now, right?
Yep. In the Play Store, I search for CCleaner. There it is. And install. And accept.
So CCleaner is a tool that I use to keep my devices cleaned up. I don't leave it on my phone all the time. I will put it on there, run it if I'm slowing down or something like that. And I have noticed that it really does make a difference sometimes.
Okay.
Okay. You got it on there, hit analyze. It'll go through, it'll check out what it thinks are things that are safe that can be cleaned up. It's stuff that you can do manually, but it makes it a lot easier to put it into this app. Some of the other screenshots there. I like the system info. That gives you an idea what's going on all the time. I think I have another screen here too. Nope. And where are you? Okay. So it's figuring out the information that it can do, and once it's all done, then you can hit the clean, and it will take care of those things.
So I have to check things to clean, though, right?
Right.
Rather no down. I don't. Empty folders can definitely be gone, and I've already checked my downloads.
And your cache, and then hit clean.
Thumbnail, Google Maps, cache, call logs. All right, clean.
Yep, I think you're done.
Oh, okay.
Yep, all set.
All right, you said there's a system info. So notice what I did there. I said, well, what else is there here? Whenever I see 3 lines, I know there's a menu, and you tap on the menu. Oh, you can schedule it to do cleanups too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does tell me a lot of good stuff.
Cool.
All right.
Well, yeah. Well, did you learn something? Our app of the day, CCleaner. So, what do you call click with a mouse? We'll call what on a touch screen?
Tap, or touch. Especially when you need to be extra light about it. We should maybe say touch, but tap.
Okay. On a touch screen, what is the equivalent of a mouse right click?
Long press.
Just a
touch and hold.
Okay.
And now with 3D, there's just another level of right click.
True or false? If your tap doesn't have any effect, tap harder.
False. What do you think? Does that work? If I tap you nice and light and you don't respond? Well, actually, that might.
It definitely doesn't work with her. Guaranteed.
Not the way I like to be touched.
That's right. When we say zoom, we mean to touch 2 fingers to the screen and do what?
Spread them or open them.
Okay. So
Pinch
that's
close, pinch open.
Yeah. True or false? Double tap will always enlarge what you see on the screen.
False. Depends on what the app is. But
Okay.
it will, I didn't show you, double tap will enlarge a photo.
Okay.
And it zooms you in on a map.
And you can pinch and zoom on photos too.
And every app can make use of these different touches.
Okay, what does 3D touch mean?
It means press harder. It's a pressure-sensitive screen that can register a different command with different pressures.
Okay. Well, Chris, what's the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
Geeksontour.com, and the menu item is Weekly Show.
And the web page that lists all of our recent newsletters.
Geeksontour.com, the menu item is Blogs and Articles. Newsletters is under there.
Okay, and the benefits you get by joining Geeks on Tour.
You just get access to all of our stuff. Whatever stuff that we have that we charge for, a member gets it all.
And we think that being able to ask questions on our member Q&A forum is a very valuable benefit of membership.
And you do get Mrs. Geek's Guide to Google Photos as well, the PDF version.
Okay, so become a member. Go to geeksontour.com and click on the link that says Become a Member. Next time.
Oops. Didn't update this slide.
Okay, well, we're going to have another show.
Haven't come up with a topic yet, but we're home. We'll be having shows for the next several weeks.
Okay, I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next time on What Does This Button Do?
And keep tapping those buttons and keep double tapping those buttons and keep pinching and zooming on those screens.
All right. Well, that's enough for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you.